Did you know that the Megalodon was purportedly captured on film from space recently? And that throughout the 20th century, this massive creature was reportedly encountered by fishermen, writers, and scientists alike. Maybe declaring the Megalodon extinct was a premature conclusion by scientists, as this behemoth might still roam the depths. In this video, we'll explore 7 Megalodon sightings that could suggest its continued existence. Let's dive in. Evidence from the 20th century. In 1918, ichthyologist David Stead recorded strange disturbances in the ocean waters near Port Stephens in Australia. Many boats of lobster fishermen used to congregate in that area of the ocean instead interviewed them and found that it was only a desire to make money that caused them to stay on the boats that day. The fact was that many of them had noticed a whale shark near the surface, and it was so huge that they couldn't agree on how big it really was. The shark was definitely big enough to swallow several lobster cages at once, but even if we deduce the average value from the testimony of all the fishermen, it turns out that the length of the strange guest was not less than 35 to 40 meters. An experienced ichthyologist, familiar with the fish that live in Australian waters, was shocked by the description of the giant individual. As a scientist, he was not prepared to believe the words of uneducated fishermen, but he was well aware that it made no sense for them to invent a fish that didn't exist, because their lives and the lives of their families depended on their daily catch. According to Stead, the fishermen were experienced sailors, well acquainted with the local sharks and whales, and their innate phlegmatism and complete lack of imagination only increased the believability of the story of the giant fish. David Stead was never able to give a scientific explanation of what happened in the waters off the coast of Australia, but the testimony of the Australian fishermen, frightened to the core, made a strong impression on him. It's unlikely that their testimony was the result of collusion. If so, was Megalodon really alive? Writer Zane Grey also claimed to have dealt with an enormous shark, which some thought might have been a Megalodon. Actually, Grey wrote more about the Wild West, romanticizing the image of the American cowboys. So, what would a Western author and an enormous shark have in common? Grey claimed to have seen one of the man-eating monsters of the South Pacific, a shark much longer than his 9 to 12-meter boat. Apparently, the shark was yellow-green with a square head, huge pectoral fins, and several white spots on his body. In other words, it certainly had nothing in common with the great white shark. The first meeting between the writer and the shark took place in 1928. The man first saw a shark of incredible size with a square head and huge teeth while fishing off the coast of the village of Rangiora in New Zealand. In 1933, Zane Grey again encountered a monster shark off the coast of the same settlement. It was about 15 meters long, and its head was 4 meters wide. Okay, let's stop with the speculation, the old stories and tales, and move on to the undeniable facts. Luckily, we'll have not only photos but also videos at our disposal. Stay tuned to see some evidence of the Megalodon existence from Mexico and Australia. Learn about the giant black demon and learn about the best evidence of giant prehistoric sharks' existence we have so far. Let's move on. Photo from Cape Town. When the unusual silhouette in this photo was finally discerned, a heated debate started among scientists and amateurs. Could it be Megalodon? This photo was taken in 1942 at the height of World War II, presumably off the coast of Cape Town, South Africa. German submariners, standing on their submarines, are looking towards a giant fin splitting the water beside them, the fin's not alone. If you look closely, you can see that another fin follows nearby. If you roughly calculate the size, based on the distance between the fins and the dimensions of submarines, it turns out that the mysterious shark must have been at least 19.5 meters in length. Many believe that the photo is sufficiently conclusive proof that megalodons are alive, or at least that one particular megalodon was alive in 1942. However, there are opponents to this theory who claim that the photo is a fake. It was first shown to the general public in one of the Discovery Channel documentaries about Megalodon. What do you think? Can a photo taken almost 80 years ago be considered a good proof? Indirect evidence. A few years ago, a couple of fishermen, filming a video for their internet channel, spotted a whale carcass on the coast. The sight is very sad in itself, but in this case, it was also suspicious. The thing is that the whale was missing almost half of its torso. It seemed that some huge predator simply cut the prey in half. This can be seen from the teeth marks that can be seen along the place where the whale's tail was before, but the carcass belonged to a 20-meter humpback whale, one of the largest creatures in the ocean. Who could have attacked such a giant? The only possible option could be considered an attack of killer whales, which can indeed attack whales in packs. However, scientists who studied the carcass concluded that the whale's tail was bitten off in one bite. Another indirect but very spectacular evidence was provided by Google Maps service. Since the launch of this service, people have not stopped finding some strange objects. Of course, some of these sea finds can be easily explained by ripples in the water or clusters of seaweed. Take, for example, the recent photo of the CRAIN, which turned out just to be a pile of stones. But what about this picture? It was taken off the coast of the Bahamas. The only creature that would fit that description in terms of size is a whale shark, but it doesn't fit the shape. A whale shark has a completely different head shape. Of course, there are skeptics who say that the strange silhouette is not enough to recognize Megalodon as alive. But what did Google Maps cameras catch then? Mexico and Australia. If you think that photos and testimony from the last century are not enough to prove the existence of ancient monsters in the ocean, then this video should interest you. It was filmed from a helicopter flying over a Mexican beach. Do you think it could have been a great white shark? Maybe, but if scientists are, we believe it's much larger than even the record-breaking great white sharks. It's a classic case of perception difference. Some eyewitnesses who were on the beach that day claimed the shark was just gigantic. Others say there was nothing unusual about it at all. So, who should we believe? Let's believe the video. Just look at how gigantic the shark becomes in comparison to the people standing next to it. Another possible proof of the existence of Megalodon is to look for in Australia. The Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Queensland in the northeast is the largest coral reef on Earth, visible even from space. Although most parts of the reef have already been studied in detail, scientists believe this ecosystem still holds many important secrets. For example, the reef in theory could serve as an ideal shelter for creatures thought to be long extinct and not seen anywhere else in the world ocean. In the 1960s, a small ship was forced to stop near the Great Barrier Reef due to technical issues. The man who dropped anchor and stayed on deck refuses to discuss with reporters what he saw that day. Did he see Megalodon? It's quite possible. That doesn't seem to me to be something that should be ruled out. Black Demon. It's the only shark that has reportedly attacked small vessels. It's described as resembling a great white shark, but the Black Demon has been determined to be different over time. The creature was nicknamed El Demonio, which means demon in Spanish. The bulk of witnesses speak of a huge black shark, which by its size, monstrous tail, and black coloration was much more like the legendary Megalodon. In 2009, the research team began filming a TV show in the Gulf of California. In preparation, the presenters interviewed Eric Mack, who had encountered the legendary monster in July 2008. They never managed to catch the monster, but during the program, they listed all the possible explanations for the existence of the Black Demon, including the fact that it may be the only surviving Megalodon. In fact, it's quite possible. The fact is that the ocean is an ideal place to hide thought to be extinct fish species, since about 95% of the world ocean remains unexplored. Accidental shooting. Despite the fact that fishermen spend half their lives at sea, the Coast Guard workers have better chances of taking clear and detailed pictures of Megalodon. Why do I say that? Because they have helicopters. From a bird's eye view, it's much easier to spot large creatures and estimate their size. For example, this video may have accidentally caught Megalodon. At first, the crew preparing for the rescue operation didn't notice anything unusual. Only many hours later, reviewing the onboard camera footage, the rescuers were astonished to notice the strange figure. A rough calculation of the size of the creature showed that the fish was approximately 18 meters long. What sea creature could boast of such sizes? We could suspect that the silhouette belonged to a whale shark, but these sharks are not so large. Meanwhile, the video of the rescue team is still considered one of the best proofs of the Megalodon existence. The tape was submitted for examination to all kinds of experts, who unanimously confirmed that there was no video editing. The silhouette in the ocean was real. The best proof. In the summer of 2014, several orbiters from several countries detected large underwater objects in shallow water near the island of New Guinea. These objects were not of the size or shape of any submarine or surface combat vehicle. They were active, sometimes completely hid in the ocean depths, were much larger than common biological forms, and could hide for a long time at depths, which denies their belonging to whales. Scientists' opinions on this matter are identical. These unusual objects are sharks by body shape and manner of behavior, but they're very large sharks. No known shark has ever reached a length greater than 16 meters, and this is exactly the data recorded by orbiters from space. Moreover, the place of detection of these super sharks is quite close to the Mariana Trench, another place where the ancient sharks could remain undetected for a long time. That's all, guys. Do you believe that megalodons still exist? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.